What we have found, particularly for those who are at the older end of a spectrum, are substantial challenges and opportunity and outcomes. The labor force participation rate for folks who are 54 and over is about 36%. The long-term unemployment rate is about 22, 23%. So we have this community of older workers that really are struggling. And the challenge for us is how can we best align their needs with the policy priorities of the administration that emphasizes things like AI literacy, that emphasizes things like the expansion of apprenticeships opportunities. How can we best get people who are middle and at the older end of the spectrum involved in these opportunities by finding ways to get them in these programs so they can be best prepared for the workforce to come?
That labor force dynamic where employers are saying they don't have enough talent,
Yes.
and then we have these skilled workers, different skills perhaps than what the employers are saying they need. But I like to say there's talent hiding in plain sight. How do we start addressing it in a very meaningful way?
For employers to be successful in finding talent, the workforce system has to be successful in sourcing talent. And I made a remark a couple of years ago at an AARP event for employers when I said all of us have a responsibility for making sure that employers have the right talent pool to draw on. And the workforce system has to produce that talent. And to do so, we have to be better at making sure that folks who are sort of middle age or on the older end of the spectrum have the same opportunities as everybody else.
So the workforce system needs to adapt. What are some of the tools that they could use? And I know that you and I have talked about apprenticeship, and we're going to be talking about that in the coming months as well, because it's very important. How can that be used to help the mid-career and older worker?
I think the mid-career and older worker, first of all, has to be included in the conversation about what their needs are. And as I said to you offline, one of my observations about the workforce system is that frequently it trends towards younger people, right? It trends towards folks who are in the earlier part of their careers. And when you talk about sort of AI, technology, apprenticeships, we often speak of those tools and resources through the experiences of younger people. And too often we ignore those who are older. So first of all, we have to make sure that we first of all include the experiences and aspirations of mid and older career and older workers, one. And two, make a much more concerted effort to make those training tools available for our older and mid-career workers so they can have the skills to perform and be successful. But first of all, we have to include them in the conversation by referencing that they exist, and we don't.
Are you optimistic? Are you optimistic that we're going to get there this year or in the coming years?
I, I would like to think I'm an optimist. I would like to think that our economy is going to need a skilled and durable workforce to support our long-term global economic agenda. And you cannot have an agenda that's premised on GDP growth, productivity growth, without having a labor force that anchors that aspiration. So we have to find ways, I think, of making that possible. I think the American worker, as someone who's lived in other places, are probably the hardest working people in the world. We obsess about work in ways that other countries don't. Work means more to us and our identity than leisure. So we're not short of people who have aspirations and a strong work ethic. We need to make sure we align that work ethic and aspirations and opportunities that will support our nation's long-term economic interest. So with that, I do have hope.